is Jeopardy!
Well, Joel again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I have Kathy Fuller-Seeley with me. We have some fun stuff to talk about today. Our first thing we're going to present is we're going to go ahead and present her second appearance on Jeopardy that relates to the first appearance. So I thought we would talk about this a little bit. She was on Jeopardy twice. And the second one, just if you're already wondering, the first one, if you watched it, was pretty dicey as far as the quality of the video goes. If you had trouble watching it because of the video and the sound dropping out and things, just this second one's a lot clearer and it just looks better and sounds better. So that's a plus in this figure. But speaking of how it looks and everything, I thought it was so interesting because I'll let you in a little bit behind the scenes as we talk about this. When I put up a video, what it does, how YouTube works, is it gives you 3 pictures that you can choose from for it to be your first picture, the first thing you see before you click on the video. And historically, I don't know if there's an algorithm built into it or what, but generally out of those 3 pictures, there'll be at least one where Kathy and myself and Terry or John, we're all smiling or laughing or something. And so you go, oh, that's what I'll use. But if you think about it, how many times do you get a picture and you're like, and it takes, right? And so, but somehow it always finds a decent one. And so I figure there's got to be an algorithm in there that looks for people smiling or something. Anyway, and it usually is just in the first few minutes. So I never usually get one that's of the actual show because we talk first and then comes the show. Every once in a while, we'll have a short enough intro that it does give me one of the 3 pictures. The third one usually will be a picture from the actual show. And so like a Jack Benny show, it'll be great because there's one of us all looking weird. There's one of us smiling or laughing. And then the third one might be of the Jack Benny show, but it might be of one of the sponsors, some actor because it has no idea who's the show's about. So it'll have a sponsor person, the lady introducing the cigarettes or something, and you're like, well, I'm not going to use that. In this particular case, it had 2 very bad pictures of myself and Kathy. It was usually Kathy, honestly, that didn't come out so, because she was like using her hands or whatever, and so you get a shot with her hand kind of half in front of her face, and I can't use that. And then she's got one's great. One's like I think she was going high and low or something. So she's got like her hand right here, and I'm like, what? But then the third picture was from the show, and you're like, okay, it's going to be of Trebek probably, right? Because he gets a lot of screen time, or one of the other 2 people. I mean, what are the odds it's going to be of Kathy? Well, it is of Kathy, and it's of Kathy having this great smile. She looks fantastic. It's just a really lovely shot, and I thought that's the one. That's the one I got to use.
That's fantastic. I absolutely had no idea. I thought you were a genius for finding that.
Yeah. It was like, there's a beautiful young Kathy with just a beautiful shot. And I just thought, and it didn't, the other thing is it didn't have, there's a lot of them with static going across and things. To get a shot out of that video that's clean would be really hard to do. And so when I saw it there, I was like, oh yes, please. They gave me that. And I like your cat that's exploring your pictures in the background. So
my destructive twins.
This will make our blooper roll, but this is all good. So anyway, I just thought I would explain that because it was just worked out so well.
Thank you. I thought it was genius magic.
Yeah. Well, and the amount of viewers we usually get for anything, for Jack Benny shows, we get a few hundred or something. I think we're at 400 plus for watching that Jeopardy piece. So I'm like, it's my most watched show we've ever done. And we just kind of threw it out there as, let's talk about that. I mean, Alex passed away, and so we have you with.
And everybody loves humiliation. So yay.
It's a win-win all the way around, I tell you. So anyway, let's get into today's. It's essentially the reason it exists, because they don't usually, I don't think, have somebody back a second time once they've been on the show. I would assume. I don't know.
Oh no, you lose once and you're done forever
for your life.
You never get back on the show.
Yeah. But and so when people hear she's on twice, I think they probably think, oh, she must have won the first week and then came back the next week, right? And then lost. That's why you would think somebody would be on twice. No, not in this case. Well, and I suppose the argument would be on Kathy's side that she did win or should have won, and so that's why she should. It was just naturally having her come back as you should. But that's the whole Final Jeopardy piece is so interesting on this on the first appearance she had. So let's go over to Kathy and have her explain a little bit about what went on. Oh, look, and now you only got one picture behind you. Now the cat's knocked over two.
I can't wait for this. Is Arvid. He's an 8-month-old cat who apparently wants to be in show business.
He did. He's a character.
But thank you all so much for watching this silly thing. Yeah. And indeed, the reason the tape's in such bad shape is that eventually videotape does disintegrate.
Yeah.
And that's what my grandmother had taped it for me, and literally the VHS tape is just crumbling.
Yeah.
So but anyway, that final question. Well, I was in second place going into the final round. Yes. And the category comes up US coins, and I figure I gotta bet everything I've got on it. And I figure I know a few things. I've had coins in my pocket. I know some things about US coins. I'll bet everything. And now, so this is when I get to say, viewers at home, here's the final answer?
Yeah.
The final Jeopardy category is US coins. Contestants, I'm going to give you the clue, and you'll then have 30 seconds in which to write down your response. Be specific, and be sure to phrase it in the form of a question. Final Jeopardy answer is this. Images replaced on the fronts of the penny and the nickel by the presidents on them today. Good luck. Let's start in the middle. Jerry, you were in third place. Let's take a look and see what you put down as your final Jeopardy response. What are Indian and...
Lady Liberty.
And Lady Liberty. No, that's incorrect. How much did it cost you? $1,000. That'll leave you with $2,500. Let's go over to Kathy Fuller and see what she put down as her response. What is an Indian and Miss Liberty? No, you made the same mistake he did. How much did it cost you? $6,300. Let's come down to Glenn, our returning champion, who was in the lead with $7,900. What was your response? What is liberty? No, the correct response is a very simple one. That's why I said, please be very specific. What are Indian heads? Indian heads on both coins. How much is it going to cost you, champ? $4,701. The payoff is not a big one, but you remain Jeopardy champion, and you have a 3-day total of $26,898. So congratulations to you, and thanks to our other players. We had a good time today. Good match. Gotta go. See you tomorrow right here. So long.
Okay, the category, U.S. coins. Bet everything I've got. The answer pops up on the television screen. These images on the penny and the nickel were replaced by the presidents there now. You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so what do you all out there think the answer was? Images on the penny and the nickel replaced by the presidents there now. There's a clue.
Okay.
Well, you want to go through my way of thinking, or do you want my answer?
Yeah,
my way of thinking was, okay, the nickel, that's the easy one. It's got, nickname was the Buffalo nickel. The image, what they're asking for, was a Native American man with a really nice Native American nose and a little, so I wrote down an Indian. The damn penny. I blanked on the penny. I then thought of every penny, every U.S. coin I could think of. In 19th century history, Liberty walking, Liberty seated, Liberty bust, Liberty fly, God knows. So I put down who's Miss Liberty and an Indian.
Yeah.
And Jeopardy comes in. Alex walks over to me as the first contestant and says, Kathy, oh, yes. Okay, so Kathy, you're the first. What's your answer? And it clicks open. And you dreadful job writing with those miserable light pens. And he goes, oh, too bad. That's wrong. Yeah. The answer, he says, was actually so simple. We sought 2 Indians. And now you heard the horrifying thunk of my money going to nothing.
Right.
And then Jerry, the screw salesman, who also wrote kind of something like that. No.
Yes.
Glenn Kane, the returning champion, also wrote something. But he had bet enough to still have some left, even if I bet everything.
So it was one of these, because they happen every once in a while where everybody gets it wrong. And so whoever bet the least or whatever ends up being the winner. Whoever saved the most money that they didn't put on the bet wins. And that's why some people have.
We'd all zeroed out and we'd all get to play again. But he got to return again. He lost the next game. So, I'm sorry, game. My revenge from you for 1989. But
then the real story is what happens now. So after that, give us that.
Okay, so I go home, I was like, rats. I didn't win, but there was something fishy about that question. And I just could, being a graduate student and a nerd, I said, I've got to investigate this. I must do some research. And I found a marvelous book in the Johns Hopkins Library, and it was History of U.S. Coinage, illustrated with coins from a famous collection that one of the founders of Johns Hopkins has, that were sold for a surprisingly huge amount of money by one of the world's best coin dealer auctioneers and historians, Q. David Bowers. Shout out to Dave Bowers, my hero. So I found in this book in the library, it said the law establishing the mint in 1795 or whatever mandated, it said there shan't be a representation of liberty, an image of liberty on every coin. And the only time, and the first time that rule was overturned was for the Indian nickel. So there's one piece of evidence. Technically, that's liberty. So as I said, so I have poorly worded question because they asked for image and image of an Indian. But what's that nickel called? Everybody called it the buffalo nickel. That darn cent was called, okay, the Indian head cent. So here's where Jeopardy says, Kathy, go home with no money. But not the popular name of the coin, but the technical details of the coin. If you look at that darn penny, and I'll post a picture to our website, it is a little Anglo-nosed white girl who's wearing a big shock of headdress of feathers, and she's got a little headband that says Liberty. So the image is of Miss Liberty wearing a headdress of Indian feathers. Ba-ding! So having done my little research paper, wrote it up, footnotes and endnotes and everything, just like an Arlo Guthrie song. I sent it registered mail to the fine show coordinators at Jeopardy, and I said, hi, here's proof that my answer was correct. I'd like my $13,600, please. Now, I actually only wanted an apology. I wanted an oops, we screwed up.
Yes.
But I never heard anything. So I sent it registered mail. I never heard anything. I sent a second this summer. That summer, I sent a second copy, a third copy, a fourth copy. No answer. The fifth copy, I sent regular snail mail. And I appended a sentence, of course, that says, if I don't hear some response from you, you'll hear from my lawyers. They called me that very week. And they said, we screwed up, but we like your spunk. No, we're not going to give you $13,600, but we're going to give you something even better, the chance to be on Jeopardy the next year.
And perhaps win billions of dollars if you can stay on week after week for years.
I said, I know what I'm doing. And I tried really hard playing at home, winning $50,000 a night. Yeah. I was going to go kill. And I get back out there. And what you'll see in the show is that Alex introduces me and the other guy. There's two of us on the show who Alex calls retreads. And he will say, oh, we made little mistakes. And here are two people who, who get to have another shot on Jeopardy. And this time I came in a killer kind of business suit dress, no more little flowers. I don't think I have her. I'm there to kill. And although I still forgot to talk about my dissertation research, but what you'll hear me talk about during the, because I'm in the same end spot, and Alex will interview me. And this time I took control of the conversation, but it was mostly just to say thank you. Hundreds of people across the country after my first show contacted the show to tell me they wanted to be in touch with me about their 1939 World's Fair collectibles. I heard from dozens of marvelous people. Even one guy who says, my mother was a nurse at the Johnson & Johnson exhibit, and I have a tampon for you.
Okay.
He wanted to sell it to me, and I said, no, thanks for that. But people sent me amazing things. I met this incredible woman from Arkansas who got to spend the whole summer in New York, 17 years old, with a cousin. And she lent me her diary. And so that was worth that. And I didn't get to talk about my dissertation, but I did get to at least thank all the kind people who wrote to the show to be in touch with me after that. That's great. Well, but the show, they put us on a Friday episode. And as I'd said before, you had to sit there all day.
Yes.
Okay, so it was, it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I got there at 9 in the morning. So I'm so exhausted. I want to say, forget it. Thank you. No, I just won't go on. And then when I get on the actual show, they changed when they opened the buzzer.
Oh.
Expletive, thinking that you're not allowed to swear on Jeopardy, but I was buzzing in too soon. Now, a dear friend who has been a winner, like a 3-time winner on Jeopardy, shout out to my friend Claudia. Claudia says, she was just on recently, like 2 years ago, and she says nowadays there's a light that you can't see at home. There's a light on the edge of the stage that shows you when the buzzer opens. They're making it easier now. You'll see me flail away, and that's all I'll say about.
Well, speaking of the buzzer thing,
excuse me. Yes.
I was just going to say, speaking of the buzzer thing, they always show when you talk to these people that are contestants, they say the guy that moves his arm as he's pressing it down is wasting his time because you just can't, all your motion is going into the arm moving and not. So they're saying the guys that win are the ones who just kind of hold their hands still and all they do is press the button and just don't,
The one other quick thing I'll say about this second show is that if you remember on when I said about the first show, that the Jeopardy people really want to get a good game going. You can't have a Ken Jennings all the time who just wins and wins and wins and wins. They'd like to see a real match. So I'm not saying they cheat, but they do sometimes select categories that they think somebody might get good responses. So if on the first show, because back in 1989, not very many women were on the show. And in 1989, the first show I got a category called Gems. And something about entertainment and something about women's history. Well, this second show, look at the categories. In every round, there's at least one category about Indians. And they're the most impossible questions. No one can answer a single one of those Indian questions. The other retread on the show was a perfectly nice guy who knew a whole lot about Broadway musicals, I think it is.
Right.
And funny enough, there was a category called Broadway musicals. But,
wow. So you're surmising that they do pick categories depending on the contestants. The only way I can see them make that fair is if you had 3 contestants and you had 3 categories that you chose one for each of those contestants, or 6 categories where you chose 2 for each of those contestants that you thought they would do well in. That would be the only way to make it fair, it would seem to me.
Fair. And I truly don't know I never know what the poor person in the middle did.
Yeah.
So when Jerry the screw salesman had a passion for something in the first episode, I don't know.
Yeah.
But as I said, highly amusing Indians, unanswerable questions about Indians. It's like, okay,
well, and the question I always had from years of watching the show that's been answered recently. I can't remember who the other super winner was besides Ken Jennings, but it was the guy that started pretty much from the bottom and worked his way up instead of starting from the top and working his way down.
Very smart. I mean, that's strategy. I didn't have strategy.
Yeah, because as you watch it as a home viewer, you're like, okay, it looks like they can skip down categories. You don't have to start from the top and work your way down.
Oh, no, they're just counting on us being terrified and starting with what we think is easier question.
But you'd sort of think, because I haven't seen people do this either, you'd think, okay, maybe I could see the argument of, give me the $200 one, I'll try and get that one. Okay, I got it. Then maybe do the $400 one in that category and go, oh, I got that. But that, okay, now I'm starting to warm up to the category, so now I'm going to flip down and maybe do the $800 question or the $1,000, you know, and I don't see people do that much either. Now, recently, since this whole thing's changed, you have somebody start from the bottom, work their way up, and do really well. You've got more people choosing from the bottom category, for the high point. The other thing is, everybody knows that that's where the double Jeopardies are towards the bottom of the board. Certainly, you don't want to accidentally hit one first when you have almost nothing to put up. But I guess even when you have nothing to put up, they still spot you.
Give you like $1,000.
Yeah, I was going to say you can definitely at least get 1,000 doubled if you get it right. So yeah, I think that's I think it's such an I think that's what makes Jeopardy so interesting is you've got this knowledge of history that you're showing, a knowledge of facts. And then on top of it, you've got this gambling sort of piece that goes into it so now you've hit a double Jeopardy. Do you you've taken all this time to get up to, you know, whatever you're at that point, $2,500, $3,500, whatever you are. And do you just go, I'm all in and go for it all and then be down to zero if you get it wrong? Do you go half it? I mean, what do you do? I mean, and it's usually the aggressive people with that all of a sudden get their score doubled, that are hard for anybody to catch up with. And and it's the guy that you see so many players that play to kind of be in the top, but never really get, and so they're always somebody that's right there with them. And then if they've always gone cautious, they go cautious on Final Jeopardy and they lose. And it's like, and from what I can see, if you're at $25,000 and the other guy's at $26,000, well, that $25,000 is not helping you at all because you're going to be dropped down to what, $2,000 at the end or something. Yeah,
exactly. Your only hope is that they don't know the answer. So here's my other problem. I am the world's worst gambler. I had no strategy. It was just not vomit. That's my only strategy, was not to fall in a hole on the crummy set with the high heels I was wearing. So
yeah, it's just crazy. But, well, I'll tell you what, before we show it, is there anything else that stands out that you want to share about your Jeopardy experience or anything? Or and what year is this second one? Is it
second one aired in April 1990, so about a year
later. Okay. And
I could say that the people have asked about the prizes back in the day. Now, my friend who was on just the other year says now you just get cash.
Yeah.
But of course, anytime you win something on a game show, you get taxed. But it's like you worked in that state. So the state of California comes after you, wanting huge amounts of tax money. For the first show, coming in third, I got a miniature, a very early computer. And it had one line of type. It was kind of like a ticker tape.
Yeah.
It was like a typewriter with one line of text that showed. And made by brother back in the day. I sold that for like $25 to a friend who was a poet who wrote very short poems.
One line.
I got a glass canister from Archway Cookies. I got coupons for 50 gallons of Sunny Delight citrus fruit drink. And I very fortunately had a friend in graduate school who actually drank that stuff. So I got a whole box. The best prize was a whole case of Paul Mitchell hair care products. So for a year, I looked pretty sharp. And somebody, Lee Press on Nails, gave me a check for $5. And I was really sorry because I wanted to make, like a necklace out of the Lee Press on Nails. So the second time, I get a set of indoor-outdoor porch furniture, which I years later gave away to a favorite graduate student. So you certainly didn't go on the show for the, you know, for the great prizes.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play the show for him. If you have any parting remarks to folks, I mean.
Well, thank you for watching it. It was a, you know, I'm thrilled that all these years later, it remains an icon of popular culture. And Godspeed, Alex Trebek. So
very good. Enjoy, everybody. Kathy Fuller-Seeley's second appearance on Jeopardy.
Who could that be? If you had Bell Atlantic caller ID service hooked up to your phone, you'd see the number of who's calling. Without it, you don't. Hooked up, you see the number. Without it, you don't. And if you call and subscribe right now, the service connection is free. So hurry and call 1-800-237-4900. Because now the service connection is free. But soon, it won't be.
A Big Mac, please.
Yeah, and get him a large fries.
What?
Well, you want to play McDonald's fries surprise, right?
I hadn't thought about it.
Well, it's easy. Just buy a large or a medium fries or a hash brown, then peel off the sticker. You could win $10,000 or fly anywhere in the world Delta Airlines goes.
I never win anything.
Even a yams for brains like me wins every time.
I won an Egg McMuffin for 69 cents.
I know.
How?
I got eyes in the back of my head.
Fox. Every day is opening day at Fox.
This is my first car from Fox Chevrolet.
This is my second Fox Chevrolet.
This is our third Fox Chevrolet.
I drove it right home.
This is Jeopardy! Now entering the studio are today's contestants. A graduate student from Baltimore, Maryland, Kathy Fuller. A lawyer from Chicago, Illinois, Tom Bird. And our returning champion, a CPA and Chief Financial Officer from Fort Lee, New Jersey, Joel Goldberg, whose 3-day cash winnings total $25,202. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, John. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, this is our week to clean up old business. Earlier this week, we brought back Joel Goldberg because of an error we made when he made his first appearance on our program a little over a year ago. Since then, he's won $25,000, so he's delighted that we brought him back. Kathy is a familiar face. We had a problem with the Final Jeopardy on a program in which she appeared about a year ago also, and so she's back with us today. Tom, you're the newcomer, but you're sandwiched in between these two veterans. So good luck to all three of you. Let's go to work. Put the board in motion. I'll remind you about that one daily double, and here are the categories: social science, theater, leftovers, fictional Indians, first aid, and finally, history. Joel, your choice.
Let's go to history for 100, Alex.
The answer is after Peter, the next ruler of Russia who was called the Great. Joel.
Who was Catherine?
Correct.
History for 200, please.
When he died, he was using the name William H. Bonney, but that probably wasn't the one he was born with. Joel?
Who is Billy the Kid?
Correct.
History for 300, please.
In 732, at the Battle of Tours, the Frankish ruler Charles Martel halted their drive into Europe. He stopped the Moors from coming into Europe. You didn't ring in quickly enough, Tom. Joel, select again, please.
History for 400, please.
After this British bacteriologist died in March 1955, he was interred in a crypt in St. Paul's. Tom?
Who is Fleming?
Sir Alexander Fleming, correct.
History for 500, please.
Having no male heir, Julius Caesar adopted this grandnephew. Kathy?
Who is Augustus?
Augustus, Octavius, right.
First aid for $100.
The best way to control this is to press directly on the wound. Kathy?
What's a cut?
A cut?
Bleeding.
Bleeding, right.
First aid for 200.
The least severe burns are classified as this degree. Joel?
What is first degree?
That's right.
First aid for 300.
Before you administer mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, the victim should be in this position. Kathy?
What is lying flat on the ground with their head back?
Right, on their back. I don't know why I found that amusing, but I did.
First aid for 400, please.
The parts of the head most often affected by frostbite are the ears, chin, cheeks, and this.
Joel.
What is the nose?
That's it.
And first aid for 500, please.
One symptom of a concussion is when these are of unequal size. Kathy?
What are the pupils?
You are right for $500 more. You're in the lead all by yourself right now.
Okay, leftovers for 100.
If one of these mammals sprays you, you can neutralize the distinctive odor with tomato juice. Joel.
What is a skunk?
Correct.
Fictional Indians for 100, please.
Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn watched him kill the town doctor and place the knife in Muff Potter's hand. Tom.
Who is Injun Joe?
Right.
Theater for 100, please.
Why Marry by Jesse Lynch Williams was the first play to win this in 1918. Joel?
What is the Tony Award?
No. Tom?
What is the Pulitzer Prize?
Correct.
Theater for 200, please.
The three sisters dream of moving to this city where Chekhov graduated from medical school. They dream of moving to Moscow. All right, that takes us to the end of this part of the first round. We have Kathy in the lead with $1,400, and we'll be back to chat with the three of you after these messages.
Don't you just love grocery shopping? 20 times a week? To get good meat, I travel enough to qualify for frequent flyer miles. So I decided to rustle up my own grub.
Good food is why Farm Fresh is the one place. This week, save on Domino Sugar, 5-pound bag, only $1.69. Duncan Hines Sheet Cake Frosting or Cake Mix, 59 cents. And Florida Gold Orange Juice, 64-ounce carton, $1.89.
Get alone, little doggy.
Automatic, 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 automatic. Estee Lauder's signature automatic pencils for eyes, lips, and brows in a lineup of beautiful colors. They're retractable and never, ever need sharpening. They keep their shape to line, define, color, and emphasize every time.
So you get the point. Automatically.
Signature automatic pencils. Now at HECS.
What's that? It's Mom's new caffeine-free Coca-Cola Classic. You sound like a commercial. Let's go. Introducing new... What's my line? Caffeine-free. Caffeine-free? No. Coca-Cola Classic. It sounds and looks like Coca-Cola Classic. It's the real thing. Only caffeine-free. Coca-Cola Classic, and now... Caffeine-free Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing.
Let's spend a few moments with our contestants. The first player we introduced, we brought back Kathy Fuller. If I remember correctly, on your first visit to our program, we talked about the fact that you collected memorabilia from the 1939 World's Fair. In the months that have passed since your first appearance with us, have you added anything to the collection?
Well, I certainly have. Viewers of the Jeopardy show were wonderful to share a lot of their personal memorabilia with me. I got people cutting up their scrapbooks, sending me things they made by hand 50 years ago from New York, Florida, Arkansas, Texas, people all over the country. I'm very grateful to them.
Okay, well, that's good news. I'm glad we were able to help in your collection. You're doing well on the program today, Kathy. Keep it going. Tom Berg, the man next to you from Chicago, Illinois. He's a lawyer, studied in England at Oxford, and visited the Soviet Union a few years back. This is obviously before perestroika. Are you planning to visit again?
I'd like to.
What are some of the memories you have of that first trip there?
Well, the most interesting memory was a man came up to us in the street and tried to get us to help him defect to Finland by getting on a Finnair plane. We were going to go up. We were supposed to go up to the pilot and have the pilot keep the plane still for a while this guy would run across the tarmac and jump on the plane.
Sounds like a reasonable request to me.
We respectfully declined.
Yeah, you know what they call Americans who try to do things like that in foreign countries?
No.
Convicts. don't get involved in that kind of stuff, and you did well not to. Joel Goldberg is our champion. He's a CPA, and I believe, if I am correct, you were the youngest CPA in New York State history?
One of the
youngest?
One of the. It's basically a trick question, Alex, because they had changed the rules, and they allowed people to take the exam out of college instead of waiting for the fourth part for 2 years. So it's a little bit of a trick.
All right. Well, it's quite an accomplishment anyway, and another great accomplishment for you is the $25,000 you've earned on our program as champion. Tom, you're in control of this board right now. You make the selection, please.
Let's take theater for 300, Alex.
This musical features the songs Slide Some Oil to Me, Funky Monkeys and Mean Old Lion. Kathy.
What is The Wiz?
Right.
Theater for 400.
Vanessa Redgrave starred in a 1989 revival of this playwright's Orpheus Descending. Joel?
Who was Eugene O'Neill?
No. Tom or Kathy? Correct response was Tennessee Williams. Kathy, back to you.
Theater for 500, please.
Spooky title of Ibsen's play about inherited disease, insanity, and euthanasia. Tom?
What is Ghosts?
Correct.
Social science for 100, please.
Term for a mock tribunal that ignores justice. It can be held anywhere, not just in Australia. Joel?
What is a kangaroo court?
Right.
Fictional Indians for 200, please.
Though there was an historic Uncas, this author's fictional Uncas wasn't like him at all. Joel.
Who is Cooper?
James Fenimore Cooper, right.
Fictional Indians for 300, please.
Buffalo Bob often said howdy to this Indian princess. Who was Princess Summer, Fall, Winter, Spring? Joel, go again.
Fictional Indians for 400, please.
This future superstar played Police Lieutenant John Hawk, an Iroquois, in the mid-1960s TV series Hawk. Tom?
Who is Burt Reynolds?
Right.
Fictional Indians for 500, please.
Little Beaver was the Navajo sidekick of this movie, Cowboy. And his most popular expression was, "You betch'em, Red Ryder." Tom, back to you.
Social science for 200.
Answer. In anthropology, the word for a member of any human group whose males are less than 4 feet 11 inches in average height. Joel?
What are pygmies?
Right.
Social science for 300, please.
Answer there, the daily double. And although you're in third place, you could take the lead. All you have to do is risk enough.
I'll bet it all.
All right, a true daily double, social science, the category. Term for the hierarchy within a social group or community, based on the social behavior of chickens.
What is the pecking order?
That's right, and we have less than a minute to go, and you're in the lead with 2,000.
400, social science for 400.
Family member who's the big winner under the inheritance system known as primogeniture. Tom.
Who is the eldest son?
Right, select.
Social science for 500, please.
Misogyny is from the Greek for to hate women, and this is from the Greek for to hate mankind. Tom.
What is misanthropy?
Correct. Select again.
Leftovers for 200.
The Dance Theater of Harlem performs a ballet about this legendary black railroad builder. Kathy.
Who's John Henry?
Yes.
Leftovers for 300.
One of 2 presidents whose sons graduated from West Point. It would be either Grant or Eisenhower. Kathy, you won't get a chance to pick any more. You are no longer in the lead. You are now in third place. Tom has $500 more than you, and Joel has 100 more than you. We're going to pause now. We'll come back to start the double Jeopardy round right after this. Should be a good...
How long will the flavor of carefree sugarless gum last? Till the cows come home.
Welcome home.
Carefree peppermint with NutraSweet, the flavor lasts. How long will the flavor of carefree sugarless bubble gum last?
You getting those 3 blips on your screen?
Till pigs fly. Carefree bubble gum with NutraSweet, the flavor lasts.
If you don't want to slow down on your way to the top. It's the right beer now. Because you know to make a beer as refreshing as a mountain stream, you gotta start with a mountain stream. It's the right beer now. When a night on the town might last all night, call for the taste preferred at Better Night Spots. The silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right beer now.
Hello. This is the Atlantic Ocean. It's where they catch fresh prime cod for McDonald's filet of fish sandwiches. They're only 89 cents every Friday from right now until April 13th. For the best fish deal around, you could come down here or go to McDonald's. Go! I suggest McDonald's.
Problem was we'd sent them a check for approximately $2,300 and they didn't apply it to our account.
When this man's credit card agency made an expensive mistake, it cost him his good credit rating until
we ended up calling Channel 2 News and you guys responded.
Contact 2 got involved, and credit was given where credit was due.
I'm glad you could help.
Our writers on Jeopardy are going to display their whimsy in this round. You'll discover that when we show you the categories. Right now, I want to remind everybody about the 2 daily doubles, and we'll pop the dollar figures into the screens and show you what we have to offer. World literature, Wyoming, 6-letter words, rocks and minerals, singers, and since we had history in the first round, we have HERSTORY in this one. I think you can draw some obvious conclusions. Kathy, you go first because you're in 3rd place.
How can I resist? HERSTORY for $200, please.
The answer is Alice Paul picketed the White House from 1917 to 1919 until this amendment was passed. Joel?
What is the Women's Suffrage Amendment?
That's correct, 19th.
HERSTORY for 400, please.
Among charges against her in 1430 was that she had dressed and armed herself in the state and habit of a man. Kathy?
Who's Joan of Arc?
Correct.
HERSTORY for 600.
Rose Greenhow, Belle Boyd, and S. Emma Edmonds worked as spies during this war. Kathy?
What's the Civil War?
Right again.
HERSTORY for 800.
Answer there, the Daily Double. And you're back in the lead. How much of that $2,900 are you willing to risk on your knowledge of ladies in history?
$1,500, Alex.
All right. Here's the clue for you. Though a staunch anti-communist, this Maine senator led early Senate opposition to McCarthyism.
Who's Helen Gahagan?
No, sorry. Who's Margaret Chase Smith? Joel knew that. Unfortunately, you were the only one dealing with it, but you're now in 3rd place. Select again.
Oh, well, HERSTORY for 1,000.
Considered one of Austria's ablest rulers, she still had time to have 16 kids, including Marie Antoinette. Tom?
Who is Maria Theresa?
Good for $1,000.
Singers for 200, please.
The 2 country stars who recorded the album Ernie Sings and Glenn Picks. Kathy?
Who are Tennessee Ernie Ford and Glenn Campbell.
Right.
Singers for 400.
Despite her similar name, people probably don't confuse this opera singer with Brigitte Nielsen. Tom?
Who is Bridget Nelson?
No. Who is Birgit Nielsen, the opera star? Kathy, back to you.
Singers for 600.
In their last #1 hit, The Long and Winding Road, he's the only Beatle heard singing. Tom?
Who is Paul McCartney?
Correct.
Singers for 800, please.
Answer there, the other Daily Double. We found them in our first 2 categories. You've got the lead, Tom.
I'll bet 1,500.
All right, I'll give you the clue first, and then you'll hear the music. Singer of the following 1989 hit. He said he's finally put his teen idol image to rest. Listen. John?
Who is George Michael?
No, sorry, Joel.
Donny Osmond.
Who is Johnny Osmond? Yes, indeed. That's 2 daily doubles that Joel's opponents have found, and he's really upset about that because he knew the correct response in each case. Tom, you get to pick again.
Singers for 1,000.
Though she was a professional singer, her voice was dubbed in both Porgy and Bess and Carmen Jones. And the actress's name is Dorothy Dandridge. Tom, go.
World literature for 200, Alex.
Answer. This Victor Hugo title can be translated as The Wretches. Tom.
What is Les Miserables?
Yes.
World literature for 400.
A theme of 14th century literature was the quest for this wine vessel used at the Last Supper. Tom.
What is the Holy Grail?
Correct.
World literature for 600.
In the Lay of Ludwig and the Lay of the Nibelungs, lay means this. Kathy?
What is law?
No. Tom or Joel? It means the song. Song. Tom, back to you.
World literature for 800.
In the Book of Reynard, a collection of medieval fables, Reynard is one of these animals. Joel.
What is a fox?
Correct.
Rocks and minerals for 200, please.
This rock, used by Michelangelo for his sculptures, was supplied by the Carrara Quarry in Tuscany. Joel.
What is marble?
Right.
Wyoming for 200, please.
Frontier Days, featuring one of America's largest rodeos, is held each July in this capital city. Tom.
What is Casper?
No. Joel?
What is Cheyenne?
Correct.
Wyoming for 400, please.
Oil fields north of Casper include this one, which gave its name to a scandal in Harding's administration. Tom?
What is Teapot Dome?
Yes.
Wyoming for 600.
Answer. Two animals paired in home on the range that are among the most widespread large animals in the state. Joel?
What are the deer and the antelope?
That's right.
Wyoming for 800, please.
Wyoming City, where you'd find the Buffalo Bill Museum. Joel?
What is Cody?
Correct.
Wyoming for 1,000, please.
The only national park located entirely within Wyoming is this one just south of Yellowstone. Joel?
What is the Grand Teton National Park?
You are right.
Rocks and minerals for 400, please.
The largest known reserves of this oil-producing rock are found in the Piceance Creek Basin in Colorado. Joel?
What is shale?
Yes.
6-letter words for 200, please.
Answer. You might hear someone yell this word in the forest just before a loud crash. Joel?
What is timber?
Right.
6-letter words for 400, please.
Word that can precede lancer or tiger. Joel?
What is Bengal?
Yep.
6-letter words for 600, please.
Americans say it when they want you to hurry. Italians say it when they answer the telephone. They pick up the phone and say, pronto. Pronto. Less than a minute to go, Joel.
Rocks and minerals for 600, please.
When gypsum is ground, heated, and dehydrated, it forms this white powder used in making molds and casts. It forms plaster of Paris. Sorry, Kathy, not fast enough. Joel?
Rocks and minerals for 800, please.
This frothy volcanic glass can float in water for months before disintegrating. What is pumice? Joel?
6-letter words for 800, please.
A bank employee or Penn's partner in prestidigitation. Kathy?
What's a teller?
That's right.
6-letter words for 1,000.
Oh, we won't get a chance for anything else. Joel, 6,800. Tom, 2,900. Kathy, 1,800. Joel came alive suddenly in that double Jeopardy round, and nobody else could get in. He was very quick on the signaling button. We'll take a break in a moment. I just want to remind you before we do about Final Jeopardy. The champ keeps the cash. The others receive prizes, and here's what we have for our runners-up today. Johnny?
For today's second-place contestant, we'll fly you and a companion from Los Angeles aboard Delta Airlines to Orlando, Florida. You may visit the exclusive Crown Room Lounge in Delta's Oasis Terminal before boarding, and in flight you'll experience Delta's award-winning service and friendly hospitality furnished by Delta Airlines. And in Florida, enjoy the luxurious residential feel of a suite at Pickett Suite Resort, the only all-suite hotel in Walt Disney World Village. Today's third-place contestant will receive Lloyd Flanders Heirloom Series, a love seat, lounge chair, and end table. Man-made, all-weather wicker furniture pieces are designed for use indoors or out from Lloyd Flanders. And all contestants receive either the Jeopardy box game to play at home or the computerized version of Jeopardy. And now, once again, here's Alex.
And it's time to find out what our Final Jeopardy category is. Canada. Back with a clue after this.
Think of your hands and think of a name. For years, it's healed and restored rough, dry skin. Now there's something more. Announcing new, improved Vaseline Intensive Care. An even better formula with more healing ingredients. It heals rough, dry skin fast. So when you think of your hands, think of our name. New, improved Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion. Now with even more healing ingredients.
Are your teeth sensitive? Do they hurt? Sensodyne toothpaste can help stop the domino effect that can start with sensitivity. Then pain can make you stop brushing and can lead to tooth loss. Sensodyne toothpaste helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
Sun-ripened raisins, Nestle milk chocolate, that's as good as it gets. I wanna catch some raisins. Catch some raisinets. Catch some raisinets. Oh, yeah.
Compete against the best. Play Final Jeopardy next.
Spring break at Macy's. The excitement begins with savings of 20 to 50% on this season's coolest fashions and hottest styles. It's a fantastic store-wide sale that makes spring fever so much fun to catch. Save on everything you need to enjoy the rites of spring, but it won't last forever. Our spring break of 20 to 50% savings is only going on now through Saturday at Macy's Spring Sale.
Easter is coming. That means a parade of wonderful spring clothes for kids on sale right now at Burlington Coat Factory. For girls,
the prettiest spring dresses.
now 1/3 to 1/2 off Burlington's original low prices. And for boys,
great suits on sale, only $39.75.
And good-looking zip-lined raincoats, also $39.75. So get ready for your own Easter parade and march over to Burlington for the kids' clothing sale on now.
The rule of thumb, according to buyer's guides, is 8 to 15%.
Hey, wait. This weekend at Coons, it's 10 to 40% off.
Who are you?
I'm Jim Coons. And for the first time ever, every Coons car and truck in stock at all Coons dealerships is 10 to 40% off. 10 to 40% off at Coons Ford.
You're breaking a very serious rule.
At Coons Lincoln Mercury Volvo.
I'm going to tell the buying guide people.
At Coons Chevy Geo. And Coons Toyota and Coons Mazda at Westminster.
You did say 40%.
Yep.
Can I buy one?
Better hurry.
Linus even has his blanket.
Just like you used to.
Enjoy a Happy Meal with your kids.
Well, they're dressed like farmers because this is McDonald's.
And McDonald's has a farm. It's the Peanuts Happy Meal.
Snoopy sneaks up and kisses you on the nose.
Dog germs, yeah.
There are 4 of your favorite Peanuts friends in all, a different one each week, in the Peanuts Happy Meal at McDonald's.
Dad wanted to call you Snoopy. I talked him out of it.
Dad.
Oh, Canada. Canada, the final Jeopardy category. In a moment, players, the clue, followed by 30 seconds of wonderful music. 30 seconds in which you will have time to write down your question. Be sure you phrase your response properly. Final Jeopardy answer today is this. Early documents and maps referred to this future Canadian province as Terra Nova. Good luck. Kathy, we're going to begin with you. You were in 3rd place. Did you have as much fun today as on your first visit to our show?
Oh, sure.
All righty. Let's take a look and see what you put down as your response. The province is Newfoundland, and you are, of course, correct. What was your wager? 1,800. You'll double that to 3,600. We'll move to your right to Tom Berg. His response, what Canadian province did he pick? Newfoundland. Right again. Your wager, 2,900. You double your score to 5,800. And now we come to Joel Goldberg, our champion. Did he put down Newfoundland? He did indeed, so he will remain champion with how much money today? Another $999 for a total of $77.99 and a 4-day total of $33,001. Way to go, Joel. Joel comes back tomorrow to wrap up the week to see if he can become a 5-time undefeated champion in order to qualify for next year's $100,000 Tournament of Champions. So please join us tomorrow. It should be a good one. So long.
Today's 2nd and 3rd place contestants will receive Matrix. Beautiful perms, fabulous hair color, and Matrix essentials for healthy hair and skin, only in fine salons. The trend is Matrix. Why wait weeks for eyeglasses? LensCrafters in-store labs custom craft your top quality glasses in about an hour. LensCrafters. Light and thirsty, the revolutionary mop with unique cloth strips that are super absorbent and super tough. Another way O-Cedar makes your life easier. Give your wood the royal treatment with Old English furniture polish in oil and aerosol, now with a fresh potpourri scent. Playtex Living Gloves, the high-quality, long-lasting gloves with a tapered fit and soft absorbent lining. For all your household jobs, aren't your hands worth Playtex? Sunny Delight Florida Citrus Punch brand. Enjoy the juicy taste of orange, tangerine, and lime. Nothing delights you like Sunny Delight. And Fab, detergent with fabric softener. For a clean that's comfortably soft, Fab.
Next on The Cosby Show, Vanessa defies her parents and goes out of town for the night. Then on A Different World, can Whitley give up flirting for one night? Followed by Cheers, Grand and L.A. Law, tonight on Channel 2.
Johnny Gilbert speaking.